In this video, we're going to show you how to install the rear bumper on a Model Y Standard. So before we get started, we're going to go ahead and give it a nice wipe down with some microfiber. And one of the other things that you want to do is you just want to clean the edges a little bit. So you could actually use your Tack solution, and you could grab one of your squeegees, and you just want to kind of go over the edges right here, because some areas do kind of go past that. So you're just making sure that there's no contamination in those areas, especially right here as well, and you can see some of that dirt that lives there. So once you're good, I'm going to go ahead and grab my big squeegee right here. This is a 3L. Okay, and then I'm going to use some of my slip solution all over. I'm going to wet my squeegee, and then you're going to go ahead and just go ahead and clean this, and just kind of gets last bits of your contaminations off. Just like so. Okay, and let's go ahead and spray this down. And we are now ready to get the piece. Okay, if you have a table, it actually helps quite a bit to do this on a table. We actually don't recommend doing it inside the trunk that I'm doing right now, mainly because you can just get a lot of dirt from all that felt, okay? So just a warning, I'm just doing it so that I can actually show you within the video. But if you have that external table, definitely use the table instead. All right, so now that I've sprayed the inner section, right, of the piece right here, we have a matte film so that we can show you a little bit better. You just kind of lay it down like so. Okay. Well, before I get started, here's the order of installation. You tack here, you tack this bottom, and you're going to pull across, and it's going to go right here, like so. So it doesn't go all the way, but it just goes right to the edge of it, and that's going to be the alignment point, okay? So make sure it's moving around quite nicely, which it is. I'm going to go ahead and get this tacked down. I'm going to just go ahead and spray this corner, spray this corner. I'm going to just kind of do this all at once. Okay, notice I'm actually moving with two of my hands. I'm not going to that center, I'm just kind of moving it across right here, and I haven't really put any force just yet. Okay, and that's really the goal. Okay, right there, and then this is when I can squeegee that. Okay, next, I'm going to go ahead and squeegee this. I actually already sprayed my Tack solution down there. I actually have some dirt, and this is exactly why I would recommend not doing it right there inside the trunk, but I got it out, and then I can go ahead and spray my Tack solution. It should still be aligned, and I'm good to go. So notice I actually didn't do any of this. All I did was this corner, right, and this corner down here, right? Now that that's good, we can actually move this around, and if you have to, go ahead and spray some of this slip solution underneath again to make sure it's still hydrated, okay? Because what you want is this to be moving quite freely. So I like putting a lot more slip solution under there, and then if you have to, you can also kind of, there you go. You see how it let go, and then once it let goes, we can actually pull it back out. Okay, so remember the next destination is going to be this corner right here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. We're going to use two hands and just go pull it just a little bit there. Okay, look at that. And it actually just stuck perfectly. Honestly, I didn't even have to squeegee it, and it just stuck there. So I got this corner down. Now, we're going to make sure that all of the area is going to be hydrated, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that, all right, here we go. All of that is good. This is moving really nicely. All right, now the next part is actually, oh yeah, this is all moving really nicely, is this bottom corner right here. This is where I'm going to be tacking down. So once I'm good, spray that tack down as well. And this one goes right to the edge, right? It doesn't actually go underneath anything. There's just not a lot of space to do that. So that's it. And then it should just kind of line up. And there you go. And we are pretty good so far before we start squeegeeing really everything else. Awesome. All right, so now that we have this little corner down as well, pretty confident with everything else now. You can see this lines up perfectly. I kind of just squeegee this down in alignment with this for now. So now we can actually start squeegeeing outwards. So this area right here, we haven't squeegeed yet. So I'm going to go ahead and squeegee that out. And then I could start moving some of this moisture down. Okay. Okay, and then start moving it all the way to the inner part right here. Okay, notice how I'm just focusing kind of around this line first, because I can get to this later, right? Because I can hydrate it again, okay? So I can see that all of this looks really good. I got some fingers here that we can actually get out pretty right away. Just distribute it just a little bit, and now all that finger is basically divided, and then we say conquer and divide. So you can see I can go all the way to those edges right here. Okay, look at that. Really nice edge. So now all that area is fully protected. Awesome. So now that we have all the bottom done, if you want to, and I highly recommend this, definitely do a double take, right? Making sure that you got all of this moisture around this area completely out. And also this is the chance to, if you see anything, you can kind of work it out right now rather than later after you're all done, okay? So we got all that bottom stuff done. It's completely tacked down. Now we're going to be focusing on all this. This hasn't been touched at all in the last few minutes, so we can go ahead and spray a good amount of slip, a healthy amount of slip solution right there. But because all the heavy parts and all the high stretch parts are completely done, this should be very, very easy at least, okay? So we're going to go ahead, since this is the anchor point, we're going to go ahead and anchor this top right here, this kind of little flap. That's what I like to start with. And then there's a little like angle. Do you see that right there? That's where you're going to kind of angle it. It's a natural angle that kind of goes down, because that's really where you stop. Okay? And once you have this, you can get all the excess water out. Check your alignment here. It looks fantastic, honestly, for me. And then I like tacking this little corner as well, because that corner has a tendency to kind of move around. And unluckily, I have another little felt right here. I'm warning you, don't do it inside here. Get a table. And if you need to, sometimes if it's super, like, let's say you have a pet, and your pet is like back there a lot, I would actually recommend doing this closed with the closed tailgate. Or sorry, not license plate, but like the trunk. Okay. All right, so I got all of this tacked. I got the top tacked. I'm gonna just look at this line. It looks really good. So once I'm happy with this line, I'm actually gonna go ahead and start pushing everything outwards, which is this way actually. I got all this water right here. No problem. Look at all that. Satisfying though, right? And because we have a lot of that tension that pulled up, there should be very little fingers, as you see right here. All right, now that we've done that, we're actually going to do one more. Again, double take. You just want to make sure you get rid of all the moisture that we just squeegeed out, especially this line. Body lines, you want to be extra careful with that. All right, so we've got the top part down. We've got a little finger right here. No problem whatsoever. I just sprayed some Tack solution in there, and then look at that. Amazing. Great. So you can actually do this while it's still wet like this, but I like always starting with apex, right? So there's actually these points that are high. You're actually going to start with those points. So you're going to go ahead and push this in. Same thing over here, guys. And go ahead and push this in. Boom, just like that. Nice. And then same thing here, guys. Got that tack. I mean, you can't even see that line now. Such a good edge right here. All right, so this is another point. This is the apex. Always start with the apex. Is that the apex? I think it is. All right, so here we go. If you have some persistent areas, you can use some more tack. And you can kind of use your fingers to roll over, and that also helps. Okay? All right, so all of this is completely done on the side. And now we have this bottom edge right here. What I like to do is I just use my finger like this. I want to lift it up just a little bit so I can flush it. This is the important part. You have to flush all that soap within that area. And when you do that, it activates the tack underneath it, right? So same thing for here. Before I actually start folding, I like doing the face right here like this with a little squeegee to make sure I'm not leaving any bubbles on the edges. Edges, bubbles is very, very common. In terms of the dip, I always start with the dip. So we're going to go ahead and just going to use our fingers, to be honest. And in certain areas, we can use a squeegee, like so, in areas that are kind of hard to access. So that's how you get it. And you're going to kind of move inwards. Okay, and then you could kind of change your bottle a little bit so it's a little bit more aggressive. Okay, and then you just got a few more areas right here. Okay. Also, another tip is if you have dry skin, actually like me, it's recommended that you use gloves that we provide. In the kit, it helps a lot, or else you're going to dry out your hands just because it has the alcohol. But once all the edges are done, one really big tip here is you just want to come back to this area on all the edges, and you just want to make sure that they're fully good. If you're doing a full kit, which you most likely will be doing, if you have certain edges, you could actually use a torch or a heat gun to kind of massage that area and then burn that area, right? And then that typically makes sure that doesn't pop back. Or also these edges right here, it can pop back up. So when it dries, this is when you could actually use a microfiber or just your finger to kind of get under there and then just kind of push it down. But this is good to go. And your rear bumper is completely protected.